Hello learners, welcome back to education program online with me teacher Christine, taking you in mathematics for senior 3 and senior 4. So we are still picking up from where we stopped on the previous lesson. Our topic still remains limits. So for this time we are going to look at limits of rational functions. Limits of rational functions. So, dear learners, this is where we are picking from. That is rational functions. I believe you have already known what we call limits. And then I want us to look at it, what we mean by the word rational. So the word rational comes from the word ratio. And the ratio simply means dividing. So we are going to look at how do we deal with the division of functions. How do we deal with the division of functions? So you say ratio means division. Means division. Therefore, limits of a function of the form fx over gx is called rational functions. Rational functions. Therefore, we say lim x is approaching to 0. X is approaching to 0. Fx over gx. And then you take note of this NB Roman 1 A over infinity will give you 0. And then Roman 2 infinity over A will give us infinity. Where A is any real number. Any real number. And then we have this symbol here is infinity. Part B of your NB, I want you to take note of this, that when x approaches to infinity or 0 or 0, comma, the following steps should be considered. considered. Should be considered. So learners, Roman first dash of the steps. Step 1, divide all terms by the highest power. By the highest power. The highest power. That is step 1. Step 2, substitute. Substitute x with the given value. With the given value. So, learners, let me elaborate on this point. When we look at what we call rational or rational functions, you have ever experienced in life where you find that when you are in a relation, you are divided. One says this, another one says this. So, because of that division, things may not work out too well. That's why we say limits of rational function. A situation where you will find your relationship is a half or in a division manner, then we say there is a problem already. So ratio simply means division. And then if we are to express rational functions, we always say lim when x is approaching to 0, f of x over g of x, meaning that the rational functions will only take place in a composite functions. It will only take place in composite functions. Then I want you to take note of this. So when you get in this kind of limits, it means you are already on what we call rational functions. Now when you come to this part of NB, NB simply means you take note of this. Be keen on this situation where you find a over infinity. The answer is 0. What does it mean? A is a number, a real. We say the A is a real number. So where you find that a real number over infinity, your answer will be always 0, because we know that infinity is that state where it has a start but no end. And then the situation where you find that infinity over a real number, infinity over a real number, the answer is what? The answer is infinity. So take note of that so that when you come to your calculation part, it shouldn't confuse you. And then now looking at part B of your NB, we treat this one as part A, and then part B of your NB, take note of this. When you find that x is approaching to infinity or 0, in this case, what are you supposed to do? How are you going to handle such kind of a division or a division of limits? So you have to take into consideration these steps, and these steps must be in your head. The first one is when the x is approaching to 0, then you have to divide all the terms by the highest power. Check on your terms, whether it is a numerator, whether it is a denominator which has the highest power. You have to divide each term, both up numerator and a denominator, down by the highest power. And then after your division, you can now be able to substitute x with the given value. That is where the x, if it is infinity, you substitute it with infinity. If it is 0, you substitute it with 0 to get the final answer. So part C, before we go to examples, part C, when x is approaching to any real to A, when x is approaching to A, meaning any real number, that is in bracket you say 1 or 2, etc. Then what do you do? Then the steps that you are supposed to do to follow is 1, factorize. Then 2, substitute. Substitute the value of what? The value of x and x. Now when you are factorizing, I always say take the factorize or break the first term and the third term. Factorize the first term and third. In short, you just say you factorize. So this is where you always target to see, so that you can now be able to do what? To reduce the bulkiness of the equation, and then lastly you do what? You substitute the value of x. You substitute x with the given value. So let us go straight to our example. Let us go straight to the example and we see how do we apply these steps. How do we apply? So this one is very, very examinable, learners, in your national exams, both senior 3 and senior 4. You will find the most of these questions of limits come from the rational part of a function. Example 1. Sample 1 says, find the following. Find the following. And then they say A, lim x is approaching to infinity, 3x square plus 4x plus 3 over 4x square plus 2x plus 1. And then part B, we have lim x is approaching to 0. X is approaching to 0. Then we have 5x square minus 3x plus 1 over 2x cubed. 2x cubed plus 5x minus 4. So, learners, if you are given this kind of equation and then they ask you that, can you work it out? For you to work it out, identify what type of a fraction, what type of a limit is this. This is a rational limit. And then after that, you check where is x approaching. X in this case, part A is approaching to infinity. Part B is approaching to 0. Let us see how do we apply those steps. So, in our solution part A, we said we are going to divide all the terms by what? The highest power. So you check up the numerator, the highest power is x power 2. And then also the denominator, the highest power is x square. Meaning that it is x square which is the highest power. Then now you come and say, I will have lim x is approaching to infinity will now give me 3x square. Divide it by x square. And then plus 4x divided by x square, and then plus 3 divided by x square. All of it out of the denominator. So the denominator also has 4x square. So you divide it by x square. And then we have plus 2x divided by x square. And then we have plus 1 divided by x square. So now in this case you find that this x will cancel with this. And then here we shall have 1x cancelled here, 1x cancelled here, and then we remain with only x there. And then here it cannot be cancelled. So on the numerator we shall have 3 plus 4 out of x, and then plus 3 out of x square. Divide it by, here we also cancel the numerator, x square will cancel, here x will go, and then here we shall have 1x, because 1x will go with the other 1x, and then now we shall have 4 plus 2 out of x, and then plus 1 out of x square. So in this level, learners, this is where we are now going to do what? To substitute. Then now you substitute. Substitute now. So your substitution now, you say lim x is approaching to what? To infinity. X is approaching to infinity. Now will be 3 plus what? Plus 4 over what? Over infinity. And then plus 3 out of infinity square. Infinity square. Then divide it by 4 plus 2 out of infinity. And then plus 1 out of infinity square. So you find that infinity, a real number divided by infinity gives us infinity. And then here also gives us infinity. So we shall have now 3 plus infinity, and then plus infinity over 4 plus infinity plus infinity. So 3 plus nothing plus nothing plus nothing will give us 3. And then 4 plus nothing will give us 4. So your answer is 3 out of 4. That is what you are to do for that part A. And then we see part B. So part B, we also follow the same steps. Part B, we find that in part B, so solution for part B, we say lim x is approaching to what? To 0. So we said as long as x is approaching to 0 or infinity, we are to divide each term by what? By the highest power. So when we look at this, we find that the highest power is x raised to what? Raised to 3. So we are going to divide the numerators or the terms by x raised to 3. So we shall have 5x square over x cube, and then minus 3x over x cube, and then plus 1 over x cube, and then divide it all by what? By 2x cube over x cube, and then plus 5x over x cube, and then plus 1 minus 4 over x cube. Then now from this level we do what? We divide. So you find that this x square will go with the 2x here, and then you remain with the x. And then here we find 1x here will go here, you remain with the x square. And then here it cannot. So our numerator will be 5 out of x. And then minus 3 out of x square. And then plus 1 out of x cube. Then all over out of what? This. So this will cancel because we have x cube will cancel. And then here we have x1 will cancel with the x1 here and remain with the x square. So here we shall have 2 plus 5 out of x square, and then minus 4 out of x cube. So at that level, that is where we are going to do our what? Substitution. So you substitute. So when we substitute, we say leave x is approaching to what? Is approaching to 0. Meaning that x now is what? Is 0. So we shall have 5 out of 0. And then minus 3 out of 0 squared. Plus 1 out of 0 cube. Divide it by what? 2 plus 5 out of 0 squared minus 4 out of 0 cube. So this will give us a real divided by 0, we get 0. So we get here 0 minus 0 plus 0 out of 2 plus 0 minus 0. So the whole answer will be 0 divided by 2, which will be what? 0 divided by 2, what do we get? Nothing divided by 2, you get nothing. That is, it gives us infinity. Infinity, or you say it is 0. So that is your answer. So dear learners, we did that part of part A where x is approaching to 0 or infinity. That is what you are supposed to do. And then that is what you are supposed to do. Then now let us look at it. If example 2 example 2 says find a x square minus 2x minus 8 out of what? Out of x minus 4. And then B is lim this is lim x is approaching to what? Is approaching to 4. And then here x is approaching to negative 1. And then we have 2x square plus 8x plus 6 out of what? Out of x square plus 1. X plus 1. So dear learners, look at the example 2. So example 2, you study as long as you have known that this is a rational function. What you do, you take note of where is x approaching. It's very important in that this note. Where is x approaching? Is it approaching to a number beyond 0, or it is approaching to 0? Then you apply, you answer it accordingly. So since it is approaching to the real, which is 4, then what are we going to do? We are going to factorize. And we are going to factorize the numerator so that we get the value, the one of the factors which is the same as the denominator. Learners, take note of this. When x is approaching to a real number, what will happen to the numerator? You are going to factorize. You are going to factorize. So our answer, our solution here, we simply say we are going to factorize x squared minus 2x minus 8. And we said, since the first term is powered by 2, we simply break it. X times x will give us x. And then here, we look at the factors. Here is 2 and negative 4. So this is so that when we multiply, we get negative 8. When we add, we get negative 2. So then now you will have this will go with this, and then we have this goes with that. So we shall have the two factors as x minus 2, x plus 2, and then x minus 4. So this is now our numerator. Now when we come to substitute that, we simply say, where there is a numerator, we are going to write the factors that you have got. So we are going to write our factors. So you are going to replace this to rewrite your function by saying leave x is approaching to 4. X is approaching to 4. Your factors here will have x plus 2 and then x minus 4. When we multiply this, when we open the bracket of this, we shall come to this exactly to this answer of the numerator. And then over what? Over x minus 4. So you'll find that we have got one example, one factor which matches with the denominator. Then you cancel this, and then you remain now with what? Leave x approaches to what? To 4 is x plus 2. So this is where now your substitution will take place. You substitute now from this. Since x is 4, then now you simply say I will have now x 4 plus what? Plus 2, which will give me 6. So that is how you learners, you will simply do it, because you cannot substitute something which is in a fraction. You factorize it so that you cancel the fraction out, and then you remain with the one factor that you will substitute. Dear learners, I hope you have got the idea on if x is approaching to any real number, and if x is approaching to infinity or 0. So for part B, I want you to go and try on your own. Try to get for me the answer of this, and then using the example part A, and then we shall continue from there when we meet the next time. With this, we have come to the end of our lesson, and I wish you the best and a good day. Good